Greetings and welcome to The End Last Week, This Week, and Next Week, the podcast companion to The End, the weekly newsletter that shines a light back on audio fiction shows when they've reached the finale of a season or the conclusion of the series. I am your host and the curator of The End, Evo Terra. Now, if you've never heard of The End, well, then this podcast is going to be very confusing, which you can fix by going to theend.fyi and subscribing to the newsletter. It's free, and you'll get all the links, the artwork, the listening times, and so much more. So, put the notepad away. Just subscribe to The End. You can thank me later. Let's get into this, shall we? Today's issue of The End, the 23rd issue, has 5 shows in the recently completed section, and 2 of them wrapped last week. Seance, High Falls, is a dramatized magical realism show from Sound Booth Theater. The 8-episode story was completed on February 9th. And Macabre Mortality Services, a dramatized musical comedy from Macabre Radio Team, published the last episode of their 6-part story on February 6th. This week and every week, I make 2 personal recommendations for great audio fiction I personally love. Many creators have explored the archivist style of fiction audio, particularly in podcast, but I find Out of Place, classified as narrative sci-fi from Midnight Disease Productions, really well done. Sadly, there's no trailer for Out of Place, so here's the first minute or so of the first episode.
I think, looking back, I'll say it started with the skull. It's not quite that simple, of course. My guess is it actually started sometime back in the history of the Carruthers Institute, long before they ever hired me as an archivist. Maybe before Professor Birtwistle started running the place. As far as I can tell, the Institute has been around for as long as people have been digging old things out of the ground. But for me, it was the skull. I almost missed the thing entirely. I should explain a bit, I suppose. My name is Andrew Moss. Sorry, I should have started with that. Anyway, I'm an archivist at the Carruthers Institute, which is an archaeological research organisation that feels as old as half the stuff it has on its shelves. There are lots of shelves. Miles of the bloody things. They're full of boxes of, well, just about everything. Bones, sticks, tiles, bits of bent metal, and broken pottery. God, so much broken pottery. And it's all labelled by hand, which is a problem because there isn't much of a system for organising it all. The Institute finally got a couple of computers in so they could catalogue it digitally and make it 1,000 times easier for visiting academics and students to find the exact bit of broken pottery they're looking for. Then they hired someone to input all the artefacts into the system, and that someone was me. It's a pretty good job, as far as such things go, considering I only have half a history degree. There are probably plenty of history geeks who would kill to be down here breathing in 1,000-year-old dust. I certainly can't complain. It's a good job. I even get to say I'm an archivist.
Out of Place is a complete story with 26 episodes spread across 2 seasons. It's a 9-hour and 8-minute journey. And I greatly enjoyed the premise of The Dragoning, a narrated urban fantasy from Messenger Theater Company, when it was put into practice. Again, no trailer episode, so here's the first minute or so of the first episode.
Messenger Theater Company presents The Dragoning. Episode 1. Ray.
So where to? Sure. We'll get you there safely, not to worry. No dragons in this cab, and it's fireproofed. Won't be long. Was that your girlfriend that saw you to the cab? Oh. Hook up? Like a one-night stand? No. Wow. Even one-night stands are looking after men now. I would never have thought. Used to be the reverse at this hour. Men putting their ladies in cars trying to keep them safe. Now we got the reverse. Even for a one-night stand. Wow, what has the world come to? No, yeah, I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've had lots of dragons in here, but I just keep my mouth shut when I've got a lady in the cab these days. I don't want to run the risk of saying something stupid, Better to say nothing at all. Don't be lulled into complacency just because they're nice and polite. Because, the nice and polite ones are the dangerous ones. I had one in here a couple of months ago. She's as sweet as could be. She reminded me of my daughter, truth be told.
The Dragoning is complete with 20 episodes in 2 seasons for a listening time of 6 hours and 14 minutes. However, as Emily wrote in her submission, did we start writing a possible Season 3? Yes. Will we put it out? Only if there's significant demand for it. So, there you go. And finally, the latest issue of The End only highlights a single show returning with a new season coming soon, and it happens to return next week. Liminal Criminals, a fake crime podcast from SCWR Productions, will resume with its second season on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day here in America. How nice. It'll take you 5 hours to catch up on the 14 episodes in Season 1. And that's all for this episode of The End. Last week, this week, and next week. For the other audio fiction shows featured and highlighted in the 23rd issue of The End, including links to listen to all of the shows mentioned in this episode, please visit theend.fyi. I'm Evo Terra. Thanks for listening.